Former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton appeared before reporters following an extensive closed-door testimony session on Capitol Hill, where she answered questions from lawmakers conducting an ongoing congressional investigation connected to convicted financier Jeffrey Epstein, a case that continues to dominate political discussion years after Epstein's death and remains one of the most scrutinized controversies involving powerful global figures. As members of the U.S. House of Representatives seek to piece together a comprehensive understanding of how Epstein maintained relationships with influential individuals across politics, finance, and elite social circles, despite long-standing allegations and prior legal action against him. Emerging from the secure hearing area, Clinton delivered a measured public statement emphasizing that she had cooperated fully with investigators, answered all questions truthfully under oath, and respected the seriousness of congressional oversight, while declining to disclose details of the questioning process to strict confidentiality rules that govern private testimony sessions and are intended to protect investigative integrity, prevent witness coordination, and allow lawmakers to compare accounts before releasing findings publicly, according to individuals familiar with the proceedings. The questioning spanned several hours and covered multiple periods of Clinton's public career, including diplomatic travel procedures, official vetting protocols, and broader institutional practices regarding associations with private individuals, with investigators attempting to clarify timelines and determine whether warning signs related to Epstein's conduct were adequately recognized or addressed within government or political networks, while Clinton's legal representatives reiterated afterward that she has never been accused of wrongdoing related to Epstein and voluntarily agreed to testify in order to address persistent claims and speculation that have circulated for years, arguing that sworn testimony provides a factual record capable of countering misinformation that often spreads rapidly in politically charged environments. The investigation itself has gained renewed urgency amid bipartisan calls for transparency, as lawmakers from both major parties argue that unresolved questions surrounding Epstein's connections have undermined public confidence in institutions and fueled widespread conspiracy theories online, prompting congressional committees to revisit archived evidence, examine communication records, analyze travel documentation, and compare testimony from multiple witnesses in an effort to construct a detailed chronological narrative of Epstein's access to influential spaces. While political observers note that congressional investigations frequently unfold in stages beginning with confidential interviews, followed by evidence review, and eventually leading to public hearings or formal reports if significant findings emerge, meaning Clinton's testimony may represent only one component of a much broader investigative process still unfolding behind the scenes. Outside the Capitol, reactions quickly reflected the deeply polarized political climate in the United States, with supporters describing Clinton's appearance as proof of transparency and willingness to engage with oversight mechanisms, while critics questioned why proceedings remained closed to the public and demanded the eventual release of transcripts so citizens can independently evaluate the testimony, highlighting how the Epstein investigation has evolved into more than a legal inquiry and instead become a symbolic battleground over trust in government, accountability among elites, and the balance between investigative confidentiality and public disclosure. As television commentators, legal analysts, and political strategists debated the implications across news networks and social media platforms throughout the day, legal experts observing the process explained that closed-door congressional testimony allows investigators to ask detailed, sometimes sensitive questions without the performative pressures of televised hearings, enabling lawmakers to verify information carefully and identify inconsistencies before witnesses testify publicly. While former congressional staff members suggested the committee's strategy appears focused on identifying systemic failures rather than targeting individual witnesses, examining how institutional structures may have allowed Epstein to retain credibility and access even after earlier legal controversies raised serious concerns, raising broader policy questions about background checks, ethical guidelines, and safeguards designed to prevent individuals accused of misconduct from leveraging influence within political and social institutions. Advocacy groups representing survivors of abuse have also weighed in, urging lawmakers to ensure that political narratives do not overshadow the experiences of victims whose stories initially brought attention to Epstein's crimes, emphasizing that accountability must include institutional reform, improved reporting systems, and stronger protections against exploitation. While public interest in the investigation has intensified once again across digital platforms where discussions range from calls for transparency to debates over misinformation and partisan interpretation, illustrating how modern investigations unfold simultaneously in legislative chambers and the online information ecosystem, where competing narratives often shape public perception long before official conclusions are reached. Political historians note that high-profile testimonies involving prominent national figures frequently carry long-term consequences beyond immediate headlines, influencing future ethics legislation, oversight practices, and public expectations regarding transparency in government. And analysts suggest that depending on the investigation's findings, Congress could consider reforms aimed at strengthening disclosure requirements, improving vetting procedures for individuals granted access to official events, or expanding accountability mechanisms when allegations involve wealthy and influential networks, demonstrating how individual testimonies can contribute to structural changes within democratic institutions. As the inquiry moves forward, lawmakers are expected to continue interviewing witnesses, reviewing classified and unclassified materials, and determining whether portions of the investigation will transition into public hearings, a development that could dramatically increase political tension and media scrutiny. While questions remain about whether transcripts from Clinton's testimony will eventually be released and how the committee plans to present its conclusions to the public, leaving observers watching closely for signals about the investigation's direction and potential outcomes, including policy recommendations or further investigative actions that could reshape public debate surrounding accountability and institutional responsibility. For now, Clinton's appearance stands as a significant moment in a long-running investigation that continues to raise complex questions about power, influence, and oversight in modern political systems, reflecting the enduring impact of the Epstein case on American politics and global public discourse. As lawmakers, legal experts, advocacy groups, and citizens alike await the next phase of the inquiry, aware that each testimony adds another piece to a complicated puzzle whose full implications may not become clear until Congress completes its review and releases its final findings, ensuring that the story remains an evolving chapter in the broader conversation about justice, transparency, and trust in democratic institutions.